Hello everyone and good morning. Though I am saying good morning, but it's the evening here in our city. I am Bangladeshi and this is Shabira Nupur. I am representing International Rescue Committee. I am working there as a head of advocacy and communication. Today I am honored and humbled for this opportunity, and I would like to thank the Harvard Human Flourishing Program and the Catholic University for organizing this event and invite me as a featured speaker. Today I would like to share about our experiences from Bangladesh, how we addressed child marriage in our community by engaging faith communities effectively. Let me share a story. When I joined my previous organization, and that time was 2012, and that time, so far I can remember, the child marriage percentage was 66%, and which was the highest, almost highest among South Asian countries, and third among globe. And when I joined my previous organization, I used to travel a lot in to see our program at field levels. We were the international organization who used to implement their program directly at community level. So when I visited our field program, I used to meet a lot of adolescent girls who escaped their marriage, or also who are living their life as a adolescent bride in their community without having proper meaning about their life. When I met them, I heard a lot of painful stories from them, and I also heard a lot of hope in their eyes, especially for those girls who escaped their own marriages. And they shared and they expected that they would like to engage themselves to address child marriage in their community, so that they can save other girls who are in risk for child marriage. So when we listened, we heard them, and at the same time we were doing an assessment across the country. We had an assessment. We had an assessment tool. The tool name was Adapt, and by using that tool, we assessed the child protection situation across the country in 2012, and we published the report in 2013. And in that report, we got around 10 issues which was hampering children, especially girls' life in Bangladesh. And child marriage was the number one, was in the number one in the priority list. Like everyone was talking about child marriage, and they were sharing their concern about child marriage and how they can engage, or how they can play their role to end child marriage in their community. So when we had the assessment report in our hand, and at the same time from our field experiences, we came up with a decision that we will run a 5 years long campaign in Bangladesh to address the child marriage. And we launched the first ever campaign in Bangladesh to address child marriage, and the campaign name was Bride Not Before 18. We launched the campaign in partnership with National Human Rights Commission. We had three major outcomes in that campaign. Like first, to create massive sensitization among community people, and to support government of Bangladesh to amend the Child Marriage Restraint Act, which was approved 100 years back. in Bangladesh. After that, I think there were one amendment, and that was also long years back. And the third one was like how we can develop change agent at community level by engaging youth and religious leaders across the country. And it was a massive launched I would like to say massive launch in Bangladesh, and we had a huge media coverage because of the name. People and audiences, they like the name, like not before 18. The Bangla name was so really beautiful. I like the Bangla name as well. So we launched, and immediate after launching the event, we were trying to mobilize youth community and youth and children community across the country, especially where we were working at that time. And so far I can remember, we were covering around 66 areas in Bangladesh, and which all of them were in the remote areas in Bangladesh, and where child marriage ratio was really high, especially in our north and southwest part. So we formed a child and youth from across the country, and we had around 2,000 child from across the country, where 200,000 child leader we had that time, and we sensitized them on how they can act as a change agent to address child marriage in their community. We build their capacity about the issue and its consequences, and why child marriage is happening, and what is law saying, how our structure, government structure can play a strong role to stop child marriage in our country. And at the same time, when we were interacting with the child and youth group, and also at the same time we were also working with the parents, actually we followed the whole society approach, so that everyone can engage and everyone play their part to address the child marriage in Bangladesh. But we focused on two groups, children and youth, and religious leaders, because when we were doing the stakeholder analysis for the campaign, and we have realized that almost all of them during that analysis mention about religious leaders and young peoples who can be one of the most important actor for this campaign, who can contribute and who can play an important role to change people's mindset towards ending child marriage, because it's a harmful traditional practice. At the same time, it's also people's mindset towards girls and the issue. So, and it was a deep-rooted problem in our country. Still, we have that problem and because of COVID-19 situation in Bangladesh. So, to address the harmful traditional practice and people's mindset, most of the participants and in that analysis came out that children and young people and religious leaders can be one of the most important actors. So after that analysis, we designed like how can we engage religious leaders and children and young people in this campaign. So as I shared earlier, after forming Child From, we created a process where they can build their skill and capacity, and also change their attitude towards girls, and at the same time issue child marriage, and at the same time how they can be a change agent in their community, and also how they can be an advocate so that they can engage local administration, local government, local community, political groups, media, and their fellow groups who are not actually in those child and youth from. So we supported them, 200,000 children and young people, and almost 60% were girls. And we engage also those girls who escaped from their own marriages. So when it actually took 1 year to build their capacity, to enhance their knowledge, to change gradually their traditional mindsets, and also how they can play their role as a change agent. And at the same time, we also started to interact with religious leaders. Maybe all of you are aware that we have 4 major religions in our country, which is Muslim, Hindus, Buddhist, and Christian. So we started to interact with all religious leaders from 4 religions. So one thing we made sure, like if we go one by one leaders, it will be really difficult to mobilize them, and it will be hard to engage them with the process and to make their efforts sustainable. So we try to engage them and make their effort institutionalized by collaborating with Islamic Foundation, which is a government institute under the Ministry of Religious Affairs. So we started to collaborate with Islamic Foundation so that the effort will be sustainable and institutionalized. So after interacting with them, we developed a long plan, like how we can make them accountable. But until and unless they are not getting sensitized and they are not owning the issues, so we cannot make them accountable. So we organized several capacity building initiatives, like training, orientation, meeting, consultation, and together we produce lot of communication materials by following 4 holy books, like Quran, Bible, Gita, and bait from shield from Buddhist religions. So based on those holy books, we produce lot of communication materials, and we quoted from those 4 holy books, which was related to child protection and child rights, and how to love or how to raise children, and how to make a space where children can be safe. Those kind of quotation we identified in collaboration with scholars from 4 religions, and we developed those materials, and we distributed those materials through Islamic Foundation and other religious institutes and those leaders. One thing I can share, that we cannot expect like every religious leaders will be positive and will be eager to contribute. Not like that. So what we did when we were organizing different capacity building initiative, we used to observe who were positive, who were eager, and who have interest to work with this issue in their community, and who suffered, or who have experienced a horrible situation in their own families. So we identified those religious leaders and at the same time young leaders. and also we try to engage leader of the leaders, hierarchy, by following the hierarchy positions. So once they have noticed that we collaborated with their institutes and higher authorities, so they feel safe and comfortable to talk about this issue, and they engage themselves, and they started to quote it like their leaders said in other community gathering or meeting or consultation. And other thing we did, like when we organized any high level dialogue or any high level seminar or any kind of event at national level, we invited their leaders, and we created a space where leaders can interact with the high level policy makers. So in that way they feel honored, they can interact with the policymakers, ministers, and ministers, policymakers also used to show their respect and listen to them. So in that way they feel they are one of the important actors in that community, and if they can contribute more, so they can get this kind of honored from every corner of their society. And at the same time, we are very religious people. We used to listen to our religious imam, priest, and used to follow whatever they share, and whatever they ask us to follow. So when religious leaders started to join different community level gathering, and when they were sharing about about the issue of child marriages, and how these child marriages affecting girls' life and at the same time their families, and how this issue can damage the whole society during their different religious activities. Like during winter, leaders from Muslim community, they used to organize different religious programs, and they used to organize those type of event for the whole night. And during those religious gathering, like thousands of people used to join those type of gathering. So we made sure during those gathering they shared about their thought, and they quote from religious holy books, so that their followers can listen to them and can act as per their guidance. And also we organized several TV program, radio program, and also we organized a roundtable discussion with national dailies, where we invited those leaders who contributed a lot, and who can speak thoroughly about the issues, so and bold enough to share their thought about surrounding this issue. So we invited them, and they shared their opinions. And when the roundtable supplement published, like millions of people noticed and read those thoughts, and the way we reached millions of communities. It was a massive sensitization program across the country. And at the same time, as I was sharing about child and youth group, they were also working at community level. They were working with their peers in their school and college, and during their free time they used to visit house to house and create sensitization among parents, especially poor and poor community. And in those community where child marriage percentage was really high in our community, so they visited house to house, home to home, village to village, community to community, and they connected with each other like a chain. And they used to disseminate a common message across the country, and that was really amazing when they shared their stories, how they change, actually how they were changing people's mindsets towards ending child marriage in Bangladesh. And girls, they were amazing when especially those girls who escaped from their own marriages, and they suffered a lot because their parents didn't support them at the first time, but when they saw that their girls are shining, they're continuing education, they're really getting great good grade, and they're doing so many other things, and their neighbors are really appreciating about their girls initiatives, then they started to support. And those girls, when we used to organize any community event, we used to invite those girls who escaped their marriage, continuing education, and contributing in their community to stop child marriage. And at the same time, we also invited religious leaders from different religions, and together they used to share their stories, and they used to share how they are working together in their own community to save their girls from marriage. And at the same time, boys also played a wonderful role, to create safe haven for girls, and they took oath like they will not get married any underage girl. Underage means below 18 girl as per the law. And if they see or they experience such type of marriage in their community, they used to call local administration, local police, and local government, and imams, priests, who are available in their community. So they used to collaborate, and they used to go together in that particular place where child marriage was happening. And local prashashan went with them, and local prashashan talk to their parents and try to make them understand that why they should stop the marriage, and support their children or to continue education, and make a supportive environment so that their children can grow and make a good future for them. And in that way, like we means together religious leaders and children and young people, from 2013 to 2017, we stopped around 2000 child marriage across the country, and those things happened because religious leader and child and youth leaders, they work together, and they successfully engage the whole community means parents, community leader, local administration, local government, law enforcement agencies, medias, and their peers. In that way, they successfully run the campaign in their community. And after completing the campaign, we conducted an evaluation, and in 2000 we released the evaluation report in 2019, if I am not wrong. And in that report, that time I think we had a child marriage percentage 47%. So when we started the campaign, that time child marriage percentage was 66%, and when we completed the campaign, the percentage drastically reduced. We cannot claim that All Vision, that was my previous organization, All Vision on only one actor. That's not true. There are several actors, but we can say All Vision, one of the important actor who contributed a lot to reduce the percentage, and who successfully engaged religious leaders and child and youth leaders at community level across the country, to change people mindset, and to reduce these harmful traditional practices which is child marriage in their community. So my realization is, if we can engage communities who can contribute, who can influence people's thought, and who can make them available by owning the issue at community level, and faith leaders or religious leader, whatever name we call, and if we can mingle them with child and youth, then that can create a synergy, and which can bloom, and which can create an amazing environment for our girls and children to grow better, to make a wonderful life in future. And the second thing is, we need to make all efforts sustainable and institutionalized. If we cannot do that, then good things can lost, so we try to make those efforts sustainable and institutionalized. That's why we collaborated with religious institutes and education institutes, so that when we leave those communities, they will run. And after completing successfully that Bright Not Before 18 campaign, we incorporated our learning in our regular programs, like education program, health program, livelihood programs, and child protection programs. And I'm happy that I was one of the what can I say? I was one of the member of that team who coordinated the whole process, and run the campaign across the country. And the whole initiative was really appreciated by government, because we collaborated with National Human Rights Commission and Ministry of Women and Children Affairs, and we were the first organization who analyzed the almost 100 years old law, Child Marriage Restraint Act, which was approved in 1929, and we drafted a new law, and we shared the law with the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs. And for this initiative, we collaborated with the Department of Law under the University of Dhaka, and that was really appreciated by media, by government, by donors, and our global officials. So, and today I'm really happy to share these experiences with all of you, and I will be available if you have any questions or any thought. We can discuss. So thank you so much again, Harvard University and the Catholic Church for inviting me and creating this space to share our experiences. Stay safe. Thank you.